children of the night. What music they make.
They're all gonna laugh at you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's up?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash you a bit.
Well, hello there. Are you all comfortable?
3 out of 4 of us are.
It's time for your favorite podcast, Final Guys. I'm your host, Jack. We've got special guest Chad Lutsky in the house, and Jason and Hunter as usual. What's up, fellas?
Should we call Chad guest anymore? I don't think guest. Resident pest?
When I'm here, it means I'm out of the doghouse. We'll say that. We took him out of the doghouse.
It just means we got lazy and forgot to ask to be on a bunch of shows in a row. And I didn't remember till last night. So there we go.
We have Chad Lutsky with us tonight.
Lutsky!
It's me, Chad Lutsky.
How's everybody doing? Anything to report?
No. Zero.
Yeah, I got a new book out.
You do?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Wounds to Wishes. It's a 3-novella thing with Bob Ford and John Bowden through Crystal Lake Publishing. Go get it. My novella in it will make you feel stuff, emotions.
As usual.
That's
Is it about like people living good lives and they can't believe how great everything is?
About a woman who commits suicide and her fiance can't bring himself to read the letter, so instead he tackles this outlandish bucket list and has this wild adventure doing so in the meantime.
Dude, if you go on like a little tour, you should have Bob Ford do all the readings.
Right? Yes.
He's
Good idea.
amazing.
He'll read
He is
his,
awesome.
and he'll read mine, he'll read John's.
Very nice. What was the name of it again?
It's called Wounds to Wishes, Tales of Mystery and Melancholy. It's book 1 in the Dark Tide series that Crystal Lake Publishing is doing.
Awesome.
My novella is called...
That's a long title.
Yeah, and my novella is called The Strangest Twist Upon Her Lips.
There we go.
Wow.
Well, after we talk about this depressing movie, Little Kids, we could read your novel about a woman who commits suicide.
That's right.
Yay!
That sounds great.
Fun times at Final Guys.
Do we have drinking words?
We do.
Yeah.
Somebody, please.
There is no probing in Wyoming for Sheridan this week. He is prepared. All right, as you all know, there are certain words when we say you drink, and we only have them for 3 of us. So we're going to make the bonus words Chad's words. So, Jack, when you say stab, a playground, and sister, somebody has to drink something. If I say Nordic, cat, or apartment, do the same. Jason, your words are slow, acting, age, very appropriate. And Chad / bonus words are bully, powers, and kids. Kids alone would be enough to give you alcohol poisoning if you did it right.
Actually,
I'm not sure he got my words for once. Normally he nails them.
Oh, I'm just thinking age, just because you're effed up.
Thinking your words I'm going to be saying a lot.
Probably.
I think we all will, probably.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool words you could have thrown in there that he didn't. But whatever. He does this for free.
It's overpaid, goddammit.
He does it for free, and so do we.
Stop reading so much into the drinking words, guys.
We have to.
It's a game. Stop being writers.
Oh, fine.
All right. Everybody's waiting for the news, so let's get to it, please.
Who are those?
It's the news. Yay. Managed to cut someone off already. It's going well.
That's fine.
First of all, get these drinking words off of my news.
Oh, I thought it went away when I did the...
Who's in charge of the goddamn teleprompter?
We'll do it live. I'm trying to do a long distance dedication to a dog.
The goddamn death dedication. It's ponderous, man.
Lutsky's writing suicide notes on me over here.
It's fucking ponderous.
Ponderous.
Look up Casey Kasem losing his shit, ladies and gentlemen, on YouTube.
That was a little
I was gonna say I don't know that one. I thought
Oh
you were
my
doing the Bill
God.
O'Reilly.
Oh, it's
All right.
Casey Kasem going nuts.
You got to look. Casey Kasem losing it on America's Top 40. We went from Bill O'Reilly into Casey Kasem. It was artistic beauty.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Last week we had good news that we weren't going to have to pay to watch Chad Lutsky's favorite movie, Halloween Ends, because it was going to be on Peacock.
Peacock. Bless.
The most anticipated horror movie of the year, because it was partially filmed in the building that I work in, is Mr. Harrigan's Phone, obviously.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. It's been top of mind.
Obviously, Mayor of Horror over here. Everybody wants to see this.
Mayor. Fucking Mayor McCheese.
Whatever mayor it is, I outrank you, bitch.
Whatever.
Anyway.
Squeeze out of you.
Mr. Harrigan's Phone, we're also not going to have to go to the theater to see. It's going to be on Netflix. Woohoo! October 5th. So,
All righty. What's this about?
I think
The
this
guy's
is the
phone?
one where a guy gets
king.
buried with his phone, and then a kid gets a phone call or something from the dead guy.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
the King short story or novella.
Which was stolen from the Twilight Zone
I haven't read
episode. All right. Awesome.
I mean, straight to Netflix is concerning.
It's better than straight to TV, like a lot of his other movies.
Yeah. Or Tubi. A Tubi original. Which,
Yeah, that would
God
be
bless
really
Tubi
good.
for what
Tommy
they're
Knockers.
doing. But
They filmed part of Shark Side of the Moon in my building
in your toilet.
in a toilet. Anyway, it sounds like there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out between September and Halloween, so that should be good.
Good. We need stuff.
Who's up for a little sequel talk now?
Never.
Let's do it anyway.
Justin Long reports that Kevin Smith is seriously talking about a Tusk 2.
Oh, have they been smoking that Delta 9? What the hell?
Apparently he has an idea for it, and it might have something to do with like Justin Long managing to get out of the walrus situation and then becoming like the next
Walrus Maker.
walrus maker. Yeah.
I mean, they already.
But that's all
achieved
speculation.
The impossible. I mean, that movie should have been the biggest train wreck ever, and I like it. I don't know if you can revisit it.
Oh,
I
it's
kind of
horrible.
feel like leave him begging for more here.
I never
Yeah.
watched it.
Don't. Instead, watch Boxing Helena. It's better.
Yes, it is.
I haven't seen
better.
that either.
I think you
And-
gotta watch Tusk though once.
Will they bring back Johnny Depp as, what was it, Guy Lepong? Or whatever
Yeah.
his name was?
Yeah,
I
he was
didn't
good.
even know it was Johnny Depp for most
He
of
was
the
good.
movie.
That movie's bananas. It was so good that I didn't return it to Redbox. I kept it.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, that movie was a once in a lifetime thing. Going back to the well.
I don't know. We're going
But-
to see.
Isn't he doing Clerks 3 as well?
Oh yeah, I think that's the trailer's out for that.
What?
Okay.
Really?
Yeah,
The same guys?
same guys. So
Wow.
I'm sure they'll all be at Chiller this year.
So he's either run out of ideas or he's just trying to cash in on some fan favorites, I guess.
Maybe it's all I can get funded. Who knows? I don't know.
It's whatever. Look, I really like Kevin Smith, so I watch pretty much everything he does.
I like him as a person. He seems like a cool guy, but I'm just not a big fan of his movies.
his oeuvre. I love Dogma,
Oh, Dog was awesome.
and Red State is amazing.
I actually like most of his stuff. I looked at Tusk and I was like, give a shit about that.
Yeah, and that's the appropriate reaction, and then you see it and you go, "Wow, why am I liking this movie so much?"
Yeah.
You got to watch Tusk. It's much better than Yoga Hosers.
Yeah,
I
I
heard that
definitely
sucked. I
didn't watch
see
that one.
That movie sucked. That movie was bad.
Now, this leads me to sequel news that I'm actually really excited about. About a year ago, we reported that there was talk of a sequel to Attack the Block. And this week, John Boyega has reported that him and Joe Cornish are collaborating on a story. And I think they've submitted it.
Ooh.
So we are stepping closer to an Attack the Block sequel, which I am all for. I love that movie. I'd love to see more. Thoughts?
And you can see more because they're aliens. You know, they can come from anywhere.
I don't remember how that movie ended.
With credits.
I don't think I saw that one.
Oh, you got to see Attack the Block. It's so good.
It's nuts. That's like one of the better alien invasion movies ever made.
I cannot remember the end of that movie.
I can't either, but I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
Huh.
Fine. Jack, last week, did you announce the Friday the 13th news? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
So that's an exciting one because supposedly Cunningham said that there will be a movie next year.
Next year, yeah.
No shit.
Yep. I cannot wait.
Wow, that is huge news. I mean, what's it been since 2009?
It's been 13 years. Yep.
That's insane.
It's been
13 years. Hack at me.
Again, we've had this conversation, but what do you want to see? A reboot? Continuation? Like,
I want to see a prequel of his mother just learning to live in the city and just make it on her own with this weird child.
If you could pick up right after part 6, I'm good. Like, I'm happy. We don't need to see him go through the supernatural thing again. Just straight to zombie Jason. I'm down. I love it.
I want to see him actually go to Manhattan.
If he went there now, they'd kill him.
If they ignore everything and just pretend there's no order and stuff and just throw him in the camp and get really creative with the kills, you know, like folding beds and swinging sleeping bags and liquid nitrogen and things like that. I mean, that's what I sign up for is the creative kills. And I miss the camp. I want to see him back at camp. Killing kids.
I would like to see the camp in winter, though. I think that would look awesome with the freaking like blood spray and the snow and shit.
I also mentioned last week, maybe it was brought up last week because I did mention in the chat, found footage Jason movie. I think would work really well too.
I really like that actually. All the campers like phones and just massacring counselors.
Yeah, it would be pretty damn. Anything will be cool. Seriously, I will watch whatever.
Anything with Jason for Christ's sakes. Just ready.
Well, that's it. That's all the news that's fit the print. Let's get to what we watched.
We have such sights to show you.
All right. Since Chad is not a guest anymore, he's not going first. Hunter, what did you watch?
Wow. Woo. All right. Well, I went to Tubi. Talking about Tubi. As I said last night, I said I need a movie to fill in the slot. I could phone it in for you people and just pull one of the 1,000 movies I've watched in the last 2 years. But I said, let me look at something new. And I found Nightwish from 1989. Whoo boy. Why did I pick this movie? A, it's an 80s movie that I never saw. And B, it stars Brian Thompson. Who's Brian Thompson?
I know Brian Thompson well.
The tough-looking dude from like X-Files and other things.
Cobra. He's the villain in Cobra.
Yes.
And a lot of B movies.
Yes. And I remember running into him at Horror Find, and he was in search of a hot dog, and I took him to where they had the hot dogs, and we ate a hot dog and talked together. It was a wonderful moment. It was poignant.
Did he have that awesome deep voice, or did they enhance it for the movies?
His voice wasn't as deep as you hear in the movies, but he was I think he was drunk, which is fine. So was I.
Oh man!
It also has Clayton Renner, who you might remember from April Fool's Day and One of the Girls, one of the greatest 80s, what I call tits and zits movies of all time. So this is like a very cheap, horrible version of The Haunting, where this older professor gathers 4 young people into this cabin in the middle of nowhere, and they're going to do all these experiments to search for the paranormal. This is unreasonable. Look, if you're suffering from insomnia, put this on now, and you'll be out within the first hour.
Really? That sucks. All the images look entertaining. Bad, but entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not the worst. Jack would be turgid in the first minute because the blonde comes out of a deprivation tank wearing nothing but white and no underwear.
What's the name of this movie?
Nightwish. Your night's wish will be that the movie will end. It starts out with a lot of faking out as, is the professor doing this? Is he not? But I don't want to spoil the ending, but it's pretty dumb. It's very dumb.
That effect is top notch.
Yeah, it's like whatever fell on the cutting room floor when they were making Slimer. So there's really not much to say about this movie. The stills make this look so much better than it
this looks awesome.
Yeah, I saw it last year. It's bad.
Like, it should have been good, but it wasn't.
That guy looks so young.
Yeah. He's menacing, though, man. He's even scary when he's trying to be affectionate with one of the girls. You're like, oh, God, is he going to rape her?
I always call him scary-ass Cobra Face because he just looks intense.
Yeah. So, look, you could watch far worse things, but for me, whenever I discover these movies from the 80s that I missed, I can't not watch them.
Yeah, usually what happens is we find out there's a reason.
Oh, yes. This didn't make the video store.
Yeah. I don't even recognize the cover.
No, me either.
All right, Jason, what do you got?
I watched a movie I was told had some horror elements, and it really didn't. But it's The Samaritan that just dropped on Amazon.
I watched it too.
Okay, well then we can talk about it a little bit.
I'll just chime in. I didn't put it on my list because it ain't horror.
It's not horror, no, but it's a superhero movie.
What?
But it's a different kind. It's starring Sylvester Stallone as this old guy who repairs watches and shit beside a young neighbor who's looking for this superhero that supposedly died a long time ago, called the Samaritan. And the other reason I wanted to watch this is because Julius Avery directed it. He's the one who did Overlord.
Yeah.
And Overlord is one of my favorite horror movies of the last 10 years.
Hell yeah.
So I really wanted to watch it. And he has an awesome visual style throughout again. It felt like it wasn't like it was supposed to be a violent movie that they trimmed down to PG-13, because there's a lot of superhero violence at the end that feels like it should have been really bloody and wasn't. And then there were some story beats where people were having conversations and it just kind of like fizzles out. So I do think they did some editing on this to try to get it to PG-13 and maybe shorten it, because I don't know, there's just some weird moments. Like, most of the movie you're like, oh, this is pretty good. And then it just gets to a point where you're like, what? Like that conversation just stopped. Or and then the one other thing was, all the actors have at least one moment where they are like WWE over the top, like really ridiculous for 5 seconds. And then the rest of the time they're fine. They're just playing it normally. So I don't know what the hell was going on there, but it must have been something with the direction that I just didn't get. But overall, it's an okay movie, but it's not horror.
How was Stallone?
Stallone's good, except there's a scene at the end where he's just kind of losing his shit, and I'm like, God, that looks really bad.
Tom Brady should ask him who his plastic surgeon is so he can fix his face.
There's some really bad de-aging in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they tried to hide it in shadow, and it still didn't work.
He looks like a video game. He looks like everybody. Ready Player One.
Ready Player One?
Yeah.
Yeah, the budget showed towards the end was a lot of the effects.
Oh, wow.
It felt like a early 2000s superhero movie with like the kid is like the main character, and so then he befriends Stallone. It takes like the first half of the movie, nothing happens. It's an okay rental. Like, it's kind of like nostalgic to see Stallone back in it, but then you kind of watch it and you're like, that's it.
I really think had the end been super violent, which it kind of seemed like, there's one point where he hits a dude's arms, and you can tell this dude's arms are toast, but they kind of like cut real quick so you don't see it. And I'm like, I feel like that was filmed, and they're just not showing it. So,
What'd you think of Euron Greyjoy as the bad guy?
that was the bad guy from Overlord. It was the same actor.
Yeah, same guy. He's from Game of Thrones.
He's again, 90% of the time I'm like, I like this dude. He's a good freaking actor. And then he just goes so over the top in it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why? Why did you just have a 5-second freak out? I don't know. Like I said, it had to be direction because every character in the movie has a freak out that just looks bad.
Doesn't it almost feel like an inside joke for the production crew?
Maybe. It was weird.
You could easily see Arnold being in the same role as Stallone, and the movie would have injected more humor into it.
It would have been funnier, yes, for sure. Arnold pulls off humor way better than Stallone does. Yeah, but it was fine.
Yeah, you're right. It's fine. All right, Chatty.
The movie I watched is from, what year is it? 80s. I can't find the year. Oh, 85. And it has Amber Lynn in it and Ginger, not Ginger Lynn, but Tina Louise. Never thought that I would see the two of them in a movie together.
No.
It also has the Carradine boy's dad, John Carradine. It's called Evils of the Night. And it's
oh my god.
The first 20 minutes are just, it stars a couple other porn actresses too that I'd never heard of before.
Yeah, I wonder why you picked this.
I was definitely familiar with Amber Lynn, but being a teenager in the 80s. But I tell you, man, this thing is kind of disjointed. The first 20 minutes are just an excuse to film.
Julie Newmar?
I know. Neville Brand?
To film a bunch of sex scenes. It's just sex scene after sex scene. It's a little, it's really shoehorned in there. It's really ridiculous.
I'll send you a link after this is over, Jack.
Yeah, Jack, it's called Evils of the Night. It's on
Evils of the
Is this one of John? I bet it's one of John Carradine's last movies too, which is just an effing crime.
One of the funniest, I'll get to the synopsis in a minute, but one of the funniest, speaking of the sex scenes, one of the funniest ones is, of course, Amber Lynn, she first scene she's in, she takes it off right away and just jiggles her junk. And then on this beach for this guy. But then later on, they end up having, sex. And it's so hilarious because her stuff's out. He's on top of her. And he is so, if you guys watch this movie, you'll probably notice it too. He's so fixated on the bony center of her chest and doesn't touch anything outside of that. He's just licking and kissing her sternum over and over and over again. And I'm like, dude, there's, you're missing the rest of the playground.
Dude, remember what year this was?
All I can think of is
there was
she's
something
like
floating around that scared people, and she was a porn star.
All I can think of was, and that spaceship is from Battlestar Galactica, by the way. They use stock footage from the show, I guess, for this spaceship.
Oh, it's one of those transport shuttles.
But essentially, Tina Louise and Carradine and I think another nurse have this kind of sophisticated abandoned hospital out in the middle of the woods that's just run down and stuff. But inside, it's not. And they're performing stuff on these bodies in there. And they've got somebody bringing the bodies in there, which are two derpy redneck mechanics who have been doing this for years. Just taking teens, and they're like, we need people between the ages of 16 and like 25. And so bring those to us. And they explain why, and it's stupid. And they're basically, they use it for some kind of, they need their blood for some kind of, it's like they're space vampires. But like I said, it's a little disjointed. It's downright hilarious as far as the acting goes, and the costumes on these aliens, and the spaceship, which, like I said, they stole from Battlestar Galactica. It is not worth a watch unless you're just maybe the first half hour and you just want a good laugh.
I'm watching this. This is all the things I need in life.
There's kind of a funny kill at the beginning during sex that someone gets killed and the other person doesn't realize that they've just been killed and they continue doing what they're doing, and it's kind of funny. But other than that, maybe shut it off soon after. It's not worth watching.
Not even
On
entertaining
Tubi.
bad, huh?
Evils of the Night.
Julie Newmar and Tina Louise. Wow.
It had to be on Tubi.
Well, I don't want to disrupt things, so I'm going to go to the Tubi well as well.
Dawn Wells, Tubi Wells.
I watched a movie called Rise Blood Hunter.
This is a
vampire movie that I've been trying to track down for a long time.
This sounds bad.
It's got Lucy Liu.
Oh, I've seen it.
Michael Chiklis and Carla Gugino.
Oh, okay.
And I've heard it gets like pretty low Rotten Tomato scores. And I was having trouble finding it streaming for a long time. And then the other day I'm on Tubi. I'm like, oh, it's right here. Damn it. So I watched
Forrester.
Robert Forrester is in it for like a second.
Mako.
Oh my lord.
I can never say his name. McCallney? This is an amazing cast.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it watchable. It's a kind of cliche or trope-ridden vampire story where Lucy Liu gets bit and then becomes a vampire and then goes on a revenge tour towards the vampires that turned her. Michael Chiklis is a cop who's after everybody because of his daughter got killed by the vampires. So, he's kind of chasing her and helping her. Carla Gugino is one of the vampires. Eye candy wise, Lucy Liu never looked better. Carla Gugino, there's a lot of sexy vampire stuff in this. It is like there's a really great scene when she turns and she first wakes up in the morgue. That's like really, really good. Then it kind of just slips into like vampire action movie and a lot of stuff you've seen before. And then some, like I said, cliche stuff. So it's a good Tubi movie. The cast is worth it, but it's got, the stereotypical good looking vampire bad guy and all that stuff. But I'm so glad I finally tracked this movie down and saw it. I've been, like I said, hunting it down for a long time.
It's got Lucy Liu. I've never not liked Lucy Liu.
Yeah, she's great in it. She gives it like the Adam West sincerity, the John Saxon.
Oh man,
I don't even know that I remember that coming out. Must have just
a while ago.
Straight
2007.
I think it was just before she started doing that Sherlock Holmes TV show that we were addicted to for a few seasons, and then it went on too long.
So, Rise, Blood Hunter. Who's up? Hunter.
Tubi, I'm up. So I was on vacation last week, and it was me and a bunch of women in a rental house in the Poconos. And I took control of the television, the only television in the house, and I put on Heavy Metal, the 1981 cartoon classic, baby.
Wow, I haven't seen that in years.
Because I said,
never watched this.
What does this crowd really want to see? Ginormous cartoon boobies.
What's the name of the girl's race? Like a Caldorian or something like that?
Yeah, like I shopped at Caldor. Back in the day, this played for over a decade by us. There was a movie theater with 3 theaters. It was every midnight, Friday, Saturday. You chose between Heavy Metal, Pink Floyd The Wall, Rocky Horror Picture Show. So I loved Pink Floyd The Wall, but whenever I got out of there, I felt like beating the living tar out of somebody, so that would get my violence up. So I'd go to Heavy Metal just to watch pretty naked ladies and ridiculous sci-fi situations.
Oh, that guy.
Back in the day, we thought this animation was like as good as animation can get.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. Well, every vignette has like I guess a different, art director and everything.
Style,
so they all look a little different. One of them looks a little like Gay and Wilson, kind of like inspired by his stuff. Most of
Oh,
the
that
cast
guy.
of this, yeah, that was John Candy was the voice of that robot who was having sex with the human woman. It's an uneven movie, and when you watch it at home and it's not like surround sound, you really don't get the heavy metal music feels. Although the first like big song that you hear is Journey's "Open Arms," which is bizarre. That's just before a cabbie has sex with this dame that he picked up in his cab. But there's, a bunch of fun stories. Some are better than others. I love the one with the like this, the kind of like if you ever watch Futurama, Zap Brannigan. Captain Zap Brannigan. Well, anyway, I think that character was inspired by this character. It's this captain up on a million treasonous charges, and then madness ensues. So I had a good time with it. The last one because the interstitial stuff with the girl being like haunted by this glowing green ball in her house was scary, really creepy looking, creepy sounding, and that was excellently done. But the last vignette where she becomes like the Valkyrie and everything, that goes on like a little too long. But it was just fun revisiting my youth and watching it at 8:00 at night because I can't stay up to midnight anymore. And I think there's another heavy metal too. I think there's one that came out like 20 years ago.
You might be right.
Yeah.
I never saw it.
Good.
I never saw this in theater, but I saw it on HBO or whatever. WHT.
WHT.
I mean, it was on all the time, so I probably watched this, 10, 15 times.
I think in the theater, I probably saw it like 15, 20 times.
Jesus.
But we
I
would
saw it
go.
once.
I mean, I'd rather that than Rocky Horror. I freaking that movie used to irritate the crap out
I
of
saw
me.
it once in like 84, 85, and I remember being a little underwhelmed because some things didn't hold. I thought it was going to be sexier and gorier, I think. And yeah.
It was sexier than Scooby-Doo.
Yes. But I had envisioned, because I was only 11 when it came out, so 81 you said? Yeah, so
81, yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to see it for at least another year or two. I don't remember where I saw it. But
If you were
I
here, they
remember
would have
being
let you in if you were 7
a little under
and alone.
I remember seeing that now that I looked at the stills. I'd forgotten, and I remember being also underwhelmed. But I mean, I was probably in junior high.
It's a midnight movie. It is made for like young people or older that have had a few and just want to like rock out in the theater. That's really what it's for. It's not a home viewing experience at all.
We
It
have
was for us. We was just turned it on while we were playing Risk or something like that. Have it on in the background, things like that.
a big Letsky fan here.
Look at this.
Literary translator from Egypt. Oh, thanks for hopping in.
Yeah.
Chad,
By the way,
getting some work in.
There were 2 other authors on this podcast.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You haven't experienced Creature till you've read it in Egyptian.
Yes, whatever book you're talking about is my creature.
That's right. Damn it.
The hieroglyphic version is so good.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Dope.
I think it's
That's not nice.
my
Jason's turn. Go.
I'll be very quick. I have been playing an old school game because I needed something I could just hop into and out of quickly, and that is the original Quake.
Oh, wow.
So I saw this had been updated on Steam, which shocked me because this game's got to be freaking 25 years old or more. And whatever company owns it now, I don't even remember, has been going back and updating it for modern systems so you can go back in and play it. And it's still as fun as I remember this game being. It's old, but it's super cool. And being able to use the mouse and the keyboard and everything now in a more modern way just makes it a hell of a lot of fun to play. So if you haven't played this game in a long time, it still has a shitload of scares. They throw monsters at you from every goddamn direction, no matter where you're going and what you're doing. But tons of fun. I really enjoyed it. In fact, I ended up beating it too quickly. But
how many times has he told us that?
Walked right into that one. Damn it.
Could let it go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Chatty.
Taking a drink is always a sign.
Yeah. Okay, this is I told you guys about this a little bit, and I was hoping that Hunter mentioned something about maybe watching it. It's from 1972. It's on Tubi, of course. It's called A Reflection of Fear, and it stars the skinny blonde from Every Which Way You Can. I think she was Clint Eastwood's
Sandra Locke.
love
Sandra
interest.
Locke.
Yeah, Sally Kellerman, Robert Shaw. This I could tell right away I was gonna love this because it had that, that hazy look that some 70s
I know
movies have.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, some shows like Star Trek, it's only on if a woman's on screen, then they do that. And then, well, this whole movie's like that. And something about the nostalgia of that, I love it. So this turned out to be better than I thought it was going to be. I don't know that it's for everyone. It is a slow burn. It's psychological horror. I don't want to compare it to a certain movie because it will absolutely give the ending away, and I really don't want to do that. But essentially, this girl, I think she was like 28 at the time. Her, Sandra Locke, she plays Marguerite, and she's supposed to be about 16 years old, and she has dolls in her room, and one in particular that you don't see much. She talks to, and the doll talks back. You don't know if it's in her head or if this thing's really talking back or whatever. But then her dad shows up, who hasn't been around in the picture for 10 years, and brings his girlfriend, which is an actually pretty hot Sally Kellerman. She looked really good in this movie. They show up, and this woman, the daughter, starts becoming. You can tell that she wants to jump her dad's bones big time. And this whole time, when he hasn't been in the picture, she has been idolizing him and learning about biology and plants and flowers and grows them out in her mom's yard. So when he shows up, he's like a biologist. He's written some books or done some papers, and she owns some of the books. So she's all about her dad. There's some pretty unsettling things where she's fondling her dad's leg, and the woman that he brought there, his future wife, with him, she's catching on. She's like, your daughter is whacked out, man. Don't you see what she's really into you? And then you find out, that this Marguerite chick just has a lot of crazy emotional problems. I don't want to go too much farther, but the acting is done well, particularly by Sandra Locke, who, like I said, was almost 30 playing a 16-year-old.
She looked it.
Yeah. She was really good in this, really kind of disturbing.
I'm very disturbed just by your description of this movie.
But, the 70s just, and maybe it's because of the era that we live in now, where everything is a prequel and a sequel and a remake and all this stuff and just the same thing. But the 70s really had, they didn't do that kind of stuff. So more often than not, a lot of the stuff that you watch is going to be something that maybe you haven't seen before, or at least at the very least, it's going to be the origin of stuff that you've seen before, but maybe done better. The stories are pretty original, and unpredictable, man. Some of these movies are pretty unpredictable and do some crazy stuff, and we don't take a lot of these kind of chances anymore.
I take no chances. So should I watch this with my daughters?
A24 does, but and what IFC Films does still sometimes. But other than that, man, I've really been having a good time discovering these movies from the 70s that I've never even heard of before. So
it's pre-Jaws, so I'm guessing the pacing is slow.
but it's entertaining. I do recommend it. A Reflection of Fear on Tubi.
Yeah, I'll check it out. All right. Sounds good. Well, not really. Sounds icky, but I'm still going to watch it.
Well, I've got something that's not icky from Tubi, but it is altogether ooky.
This is the Tubi night. This is crazy.
So, originally my last movie would have been Samaritan, but then I have the 1977 Addams Family Halloween special. It's called Halloween with the New Addams Family. I had it bookmarked on Tubi in my queue to eventually watch like this October. And then my buddy Morgan starts texting me last night. He's watching it. So I get home and I start watching it. So I'm about, 45 minutes behind him. But basically, the two of us are just watching this thing and texting each other and having a lot of laughs. This is made, something like 11 years after the Addams Family got canceled. They had a reunion Halloween special, and they call it the new Addams Family. Although
Was
it's
Carolyn Jones in it?
Carolyn Jones and John Astin, Jackie Coogan, Ted Cassidy, even Lisa Loring. It was Wednesday.
Right.
This is like the only time they all got back together.
So it's the new Addams Family, but it's actually the old Addams Family.
Yeah, it's the original.
It's just in color.
So this is why, and it's baffling. So Wednesday and Pugsley are grown up, but there's a Wednesday and Pugsley Jr. as well. So there's two kids.
Christ.
I guess Morticia and Gomez had two more kids and named them Pugsley and Wednesday Jr.
Oh my.
Okay.
Jumping the shark.
Gomez's brother Pancho is also visiting, and all he does is hit on Morticia the whole time. Then there's these like bad guys who are surveilling the house with like all this technology, trying to steal the Addams fortune. So they keep sneaking into the house, and then they end up infiltrating their Halloween party because the whole thing's a Halloween special. There's a Great Pumpkin-like relative called Uncle Shy that's like supposed to come at the end for Halloween. It's a Great Pumpkin-y kind of thing.
Wow.
The thing is a train wreck, but it's also kind of fun to watch if you were a fan of the show. Like Uncle Fester's not in it enough. There's like a fake grandmama because the actress who played her was like died like a year after this was made.
Probably Carolyn Jones is on her way out.
Carolyn Jones looks great in it, and so does John Astin. And when you watch it, you appreciate how great they were as those characters, but they're given such crap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and when you watch it, you're like, how did these things get on the air? They're written so poorly, and you watch it go, just like give us.
They didn't care.
Yeah, they didn't. They're
like, everybody's watching My Mother the Car. They obviously don't give a shit about what we put on here.
There was also a female thing called Lady Fingers that was in like one scene.
Ooh.
And then there's these two, Morgan's reminded me, there's these two rando bodybuilder guys who are like with the bad guys that gave the thing a whole different vibe. They're walking around in their thongs.
Would this show have been better if Paul Lynde made an appearance?
Of course.
Absolutely.
By the way, John Astin's still alive. He's 92 years old.
Is he?
Yes.
Good for him. I had so much fun though, just texting back and forth with. I had seen this years and years ago, probably with Morgan, because I know we used to joke about it, but I didn't remember any of it. But just everybody's so old and tired in it.
Oh, John Astin was not even approaching the middle of his life.
He's so great in it, but oh my god! And then there's not only is there like Gomez's brother Pancho is like a clone of him. Then the bad guys also have a fake Gomez and Morticia. So there's like a million versions of everybody. It's just so weird.
Holy Jesus!
This was such a weird time for these made-for-TV specials and movies. I got one of the Incredible Hulk original movies recently, and I didn't watch the whole thing. I was just skipping through to see how much I remembered. One, I remembered a shocking amount. Two, it's so bad. It's so bad, but my nostalgia for it is just intense.
Hopefully this will kick off watching some other old Halloween specials as we head into that season. But so not a good show, but a good time.
Good time. That's all we need is a good time.
Awesome.
Well, anyone who's a fan of this show knows that I often rate books I read by how many number twos it takes to finish them. So there was a time not too long ago when we were talking about that, and then I think it was Jason found a book online called
Yeah,
it was
me.
you. Short stories to read in one shitting. And we all laughed, and it was so funny. And then maybe a month after that, I went to the Mahoning Drive-In to do their VHS Fest, and they have all these vendors just selling nothing but VHS tapes. And in there is one author. I see a guy with a booth set up with some books. I'm like, I got to go over there. I feel bad for him. It's the dude who wrote Short Stories to Read While in One Shitting.
What are the odds?
I couldn't believe it. I told him all about, my book rating process and how we've talked about his book. He was like, what? Super nice guy. We took a selfie together, which I never do that with anybody. Bought the book. Couldn't wait to get home to read it. It's a tiny little book. Some of the stories, there's some stories that are 1 sentence long, some that are 3 pages long. Some are so whacked out and hysterical and original. I was really impressed. I thought the book would be shit, but it's just for shitting. It's pretty good. And I'm going to pick up some of his other stuff because I thought his writing was really good. And he's got kind of like a more restrained Carlton Mellick vibe going with some of his stories, which I really dug.
Is he a local?
I didn't ask him where he lived. Well, we were out in Pennsylvania, so.
I mean, if he's up there, he could be, he could be Philly, he could be Bayou, he could be Jersey. I mean,
yeah, he's got a few books out, but that one I was like, I have to have this book.
That's so random that you would run into that guy with that book,
and not at an event where there were authors.
Right,
one author.
Did you take it into the porta potty?
Of course I did. No, I wish I could, but it was too dark. I had to wait till I got home. By the way, those porta potties by the end of the night are just horrendous. Worse than any horror you might see on the screens. But we had a good time, and now I've got a book to read. Well, I don't anymore because I'm all out of twos. So I need another book by him. A Stir Up is shitastic. That's perfect.
Oh my god!
I got me and Laurel Hightower have something for you from Scares That Care, so you got to get together with me.
Oh well, I encourage check out R.J. Benetti. Check out his other stuff too.
That sounds very interesting. I am tapped out.
I have. I'll just do it quick so we get to the main feature. But I saw a movie from '72 on Tubi. It's called Images. I didn't recognize anybody except for the guy from Benson, and also Deep Space Nine, who plays the I can't remember his name, the alien type dude.
The governor?
Yeah.
No, he's like the governor's friend or something.
Oh, the annoying prissy.
Yeah. I think he played Ichabod Crane in a movie too.
He looks like Ichabod.
He had like the featureless face thing.
Yeah, Renee
Auberginois.
Yeah. Basically, his wife gets a phone call, some kind of prank phone call or something, and it bothers. She gets a couple of them, and it bothers her. Makes her kind of paranoid about where her husband's been and stuff. So he takes her away to this house way out, and I don't know where it's at. And then dudes start showing up that aren't really there, that she's having conversations with. And her husband will leave a room, and this guy will walk in, and he's wanting to try to. I mean, there's so much sexual harassment in here. It's like these are like past lovers and stuff, and they are just all over her, grabbing her butt, grabbing her tits, trying to kiss her. It was like, what's the skunk's name? Pepe Le Pew and the cat. All throughout this thing. It was so crazy. It was definitely not a modern movie, and she's just pushing him off and stuff. But then you start to wonder if she's just some kind of schizophrenic. And the atmosphere of this movie reminded me a lot about the movie that I've been trying to get you guys to watch called The Shout from the 70s. It has some legitimately like creepy scenes in it, but you're not sure what's like going on. And like this woman, before they even get to the house, her husband's getting out of the car to look to see if he can see some quail way down this hill near their house. And she looks down there too and sees herself getting out of the car and going in the house. That in itself I thought was really creepy. I've seen it happen in a movie before. So you're not really sure what's going on, but the acting is well done. The sexual harassment is, I guess, hilarious. I don't know what to... What's that?
Chef's kiss.
It's just kind of outlandish. But another one, man, that I would... It's not as good as Reflection of Fear. It's a little bit more experimental, a little bit more with a darker tone, I think. But both of those movies deal with like mental illness and kind of like atmospheric psychological horror that I recommend. So that's on Tubi as well. It's called Images.
Have you canceled your subscriptions to every other service at this point? Just watch Tubi.
Netflix, I did. Why? Because I've got a boner for Tubi, and I watch all these 70s.
I mean, they've got all your 70s shit. What else do you need?
Yeah, you're set for life.
Yeah.
Until they change like Netflix and ruin your life.
Right.
I still got Shudder and Hulu.
You still haven't seen Shark Side of the Moon. So,
and Prime. I'm not interested in that.
I'm not going to see that. You fell on that grenade for all of us.
I got a book, Russell James, Black Magic.
Oh, that's like from a while ago.
This is a long. Yeah, I got this at Scares That Care. I was sitting there talking with him, and I was like, I wanted to buy a book that give me something like this is like moving for you. So like the new stuff is moving. So let me grab one of the older things, help you move some inventory. I like all his. I only actually read one of his other books, so I like his other book.
I like all of his other book.
I like all of his other book. And he's a hell of a nice guy. So this is this is a really good summer read. Number one, nice short chapters. I love it. This is about a dying town in Florida, and this guy opens up a magic shop, and these 4 kids visit him, and he gives them these magic tricks, and it turns out they're like real magic, and the town starts to a lot of stuff starts happening around town, and kind of a doomsday kind of fate is fast approaching because of the black magic that's going on.
I think that's a Samhain edition.
This is a Samhain edition.
Yeah.
Damn.
See, I've got the logo on this arm. It looks like everyone says I have broccoli tattooed.
That is what it looks like.
How long after you got that tattoo did they fold?
The next day. The very next day. I could not believe it.
Amazing.
If I were you, I would turn that into a bright green broccoli tattoo.
It's a memory.
So broccoli. Mother says you're good for me. I'm not good for you. Anyway, Russell, good guy. Check out his books.
Great guy.
Black Magic was, like I said, this is a fun summer read.
He's got a new book that just came out with Flame Tree, but I can't remember the name.
Something about the playing card killer or something like that.
No, this is after that. I mean, it literally just came out.
He's a good guy. Worth reading his stuff.
Yeah, he is.
He's a good guy. He is amazing at pitching his books in person. Like, if you ask him what's that about, he has the whole spiel. I mean, it's very impressive.
Elevator pitch perfected.
Yep.
All right. Is that everything for everybody?
Done.
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay. Main feature.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
All right, Chad, would you recap this movie for us? Synopsize it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't have to rap it or sing it any, do I?
You don't. You can do whatever you want.
Do a falsetto Bee Gees version?
Whatever you want. You could just talk, or you could.
I'm not doing that.
What about like a Pantera style version?
No. This is about girl and her highly autistic older sister, who developed some friendships within a local, looks like some sort of apartment complex on the local playground, and they discover that they have some powers in common, and together, boy, this sounds worse than it is. Together they are stronger, and they kind of learn from one another, and then one of them takes it to another level.
All right.
It sounds horrible, but
Stick with us.
yeah,
It might be horrible.
All right, everybody give their quick impression. Chad, since you synopsized it, what's your...
okay. I absolutely loved this movie with everything that I have. Big time. It is my kind of movie.
All right,
Thought so.
Wow.
Jason?
I like this movie a lot. I'll never watch it again, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was dark and depressing and gross and vile and very well done.
Wow.
Hunter.
I really like this movie. This is going to be in my list this year. It looks great. It does things that I didn't think it would. It went places I didn't think it would go.
Yeah.
And all 4 of those kids should win every acting award.
Yes.
Any adult this year. None of you will even be able to sniff the ass of one of these kids. They're so damn good.
Yeah, I like the movie too. I agree with you on the acting. I thought I was watching real life. Like, it's seldom a movie like I was convinced that I was just watching real people in an apartment complex, and these are what kids are like when there's not adults around. Like, you go into that kid world, and I mean, the acting on every single one of there's heartbreaking stuff. There's really upsetting stuff. From a critical standpoint, I get what Jason's saying, though. I love the third act of this movie is amazing. Maybe a tad slow at one point, maybe a couple of minutes long, but that's the critic in me. But overall, I think it's a very good movie.
97% on Rotten Tomatoes. Look at that.
I mean, I can see that. I can see almost everybody thinking this is really well done. Mine's more the tone of it, the subject matter of it. I was watching this like, God damn, man, I feel bad. Like, this movie it's not a fun movie. So
all these kids are coming from rough situations. I mean, you've got a depressed mom, an abusive mom.
And the way it's acted and the way it's shot, it's like Jack said, it feels real. So it feels like these are real kids going through really terrible shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just well done. But I was like, when it was over, I was like, thank God, man. It's like, that was really good. I was so glad it's over.
And I love the story arc of the main girl.
Yes. Yes.
That was excellently done.
Well, what I think part of what I was alluding to there is these are kids who have powers, right? But they're not equipped to handle it. You know what I mean? So they make questionable decisions, and there's not just like, I'm the good one and you're the bad one. Everybody makes like gray decisions along the way, and then some people sort of find redemption and others don't. Like, I like that. I felt like when I was a kid, you're in a group of kids, and sometimes you were with them, and you did things you knew you weren't supposed to do, and sometimes you got in trouble, and God forbid somebody got hurt or something. Like, that just felt so, it rang so true.
This movie was proof that if there were actual mutants, there would never be an X-Men, because none of them would live long enough to go meet a kindly bald man in a wheelchair to help them learn how to hone their abilities.
And I love how flawed the main protagonist was too, because I mean, she was doing some stuff that was, putting glass in her sister's shoe, and then of course the cat, and I mean, somebody else took it next level, but she was very flawed. Because she couldn't. She had to deal with like maybe the attention her sister got, and
of course she was full of anger. it just made me like wonder. It's how rough it is for kids if they have a sibling who needs a lot of attention. Like they get really lost, and being that angry, I could see.
There was a part I don't think this will go really into spoilers in any meaningful way, but there's a part where you find out that she didn't know she was actually hurting her sister, like causing pain.
Yeah.
And once you hear that line, it kind of clicks like, oh, she's not the piece of shit she seemed like earlier in the movie. I mean, when at the beginning, I was like, this is like the kid from, oh God, what's the movie with the Babadook? I was like, oh my God, I cannot watch a whole movie with this kid. I'm going to lose my mind.
Right.
But just, yeah, hell of an arc for a kid.
And I love the little girl who was able to psychically connect with her sister because, like, their powers, everyone kind of complemented each other in certain ways. I just love
adorable.
that. She looked just like my wife at the same age. Like when we were done, I was like pulling out pictures, going, "Holy crap! Are you sure it's not you?" Although she didn't have the what's that vitiligo the girl had? Yeah, she didn't have that, but that girl just broke my heart.
Did you do it? Did anybody do any research on this? Like the girl who played the autistic girl?
A little bit.
I don't think she's autistic.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know, but I do know that the youngest girl and the mom are really mother and daughter.
Oh, no way.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
But I had that same question, Jack. I don't know because she did a heck of a job.
I just can't believe she's autistic. Only because she could pull it back when they needed her to pull it back.
Yeah, she's not as bad as she portrayed in the movie for sure. Because she stepped away from it. So really, I was blown away by all the performances, like you guys said. Like typically, you have a movie with a bunch of kids. It's like, oh, good shit. Man.
It is so freaking dark that when it was over, I was just like, oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I was totally sucked in by how they were learning what they had and how to use it and the interplay. I could have watched even more of that. Like Jackie said, it was a little long. I don't know. I was so wrapped up. I thought it was kind of awesome the way they did it.
Then there comes a part like in the third act. I won't give it away till we get the spoilers, but some creepy crap happens.
Yeah.
And like I jumped. Like they got me with one jump scare.
I'm curious to hear which one.
That I like the way it escalated. And again, like if they ever did like an English language remake of this, they wouldn't handle this so well. The confrontations at the end, like the climax, again, like I felt like I was watching real life in this, and I don't think a remake would handle it as well.
I'm sure they've already greenlit one.
I'm so glad you said that, Jack, because through the whole way through this movie of watching this, I kept it made me have like this disdain for American filmmaking, because I kept thinking, a lot of this stuff has been done before, and our the way we portray bullies and the way we portray a lot of these characters in there are just so stereotypical, and they're not subtle. They're just ridiculous. The bullies are all the same. And I thought if they remake this as an American version, that's what's going to happen. This movie to me was flawless in the characterization and the subtleness of what was going on. And Hollywood has American filmmaking, and I'm excluding, ones that experimental ones and ones that, like a lot of the ones that we love, like A24 and IFC Films, and I think Magnolia Pictures does a good job. But your typical Hollywood film is just so dumbed down and written differently. And but this was like a smart person's film. You didn't need to know even something as simple as like when the daughter is in bed and she's not sure what's going on in the other room. They don't show the mom get the knife out of the drawer. You just know what's going down. It's little subtle things like that if this were an American made film, they would spell everything out for you on how people are feeling, what's happening. They'd probably really pound into you the fact that this the one girl with the vitiligo is helping, you know, the other girl really come out of her shell. I think the American Vision would probably really pound that into you to make sure that you understand, so that when the toward the end comes, you understand why that goes down the way it does.
Yeah.
It did. It made me kind of angry and kind of disgusted with how we treat a movie, and a lot of these foreign films, they're just done so much more. It's like, are they just smarter in some of these countries that they don't feel the need to spell everything out? Or
Dude,
I
you
think
watched
there's
one
similarities
good
between-
movie from this country this year. Like,
No, you go outside of America, the writing level, the craft is so much better.
Well, and a movie like this, I mean, look at Samaritan, for instance. You know, like in other hands, you'd have people's eyes turning white and levitating, and the final battle. You know,
because they play to the lowest common denominator, and all these kids would be enormous superheroes by the end of this movie. So they could marvelize the damn thing completely.
I'm not sure what nationality was the darker boy. He would be more of a Brad, you know, or more of a, you know, like we would have real reason to hate this kid and stuff. But this is just a real kid where you're like, man, dude, you're a dick, but I sure do feel sorry for you.
You have a reason.
Everything you're going through, but I feel like an Americanized version of that would just make him a Brad or a Biff or whatever. And
yeah, there's no character arcs in American movies whatsoever.
you guys keep saying American. I think you mean Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Not American.
I gave
Hollywood.
I gave the preface that I was excluding some, you know, film studios that do it right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Hollywood.
yeah.
Primal Rage.
You're right. Hollywood.
all right. Any other non-spoiler stuff, or you want to ring the bell?
Ring the bell.
Go ahead.
All right. If you haven't seen this movie, get out of here.
Run.
Probably already
Forrest.
spoiled 3/4 of it.
All right. The part I loved, the jump scare that got me was when the girl pushes the boy off the highway bridge,
Right.
and then they start chasing each other, and then suddenly she doesn't realize it, but she's in the forest.
The snake.
She puts her hands down, on a twig, and it's a snake, and she goes into this like dark forest world. That snake thing, I'm just saying, a jump scare that like got me.
Yeah,
I was
right.
like, suddenly that like it took this creepy turn. I was like, oh, here comes the horror. And that, but you know, they didn't overplay it.
You didn't put her in the upside down for too long.
Right. But they just showed you how dangerous the other kid was. But I loved that. I'm glad that they kind of hit the accelerator a little bit there. But as I said, it didn't turn into, what was that movie with the Children of the Damned or anything like that.
Yeah.
Very small amount of traditional horror imagery, but what they did was super well done. All that
It's
kind of
effective.
nightmare sequence stuff was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's just little stuff like the door closes to the apartment building, and there's a guy trying to get in,
Yeah.
and you realize like, oh my God, the kid was controlling that guy to try and kill her.
Yeah.
And
I
like,
wondered that too.
As soon as I saw him pop up in the background, I went, "Uh-oh."
Yep.
That was
Oh,
kind of It Follows.
It's like It Follows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the way that dude was hauling ass, the second he walked into frame, I was like, oh, you need to go faster.
I appreciate all the things where they went there. Even right at the beginning when she steps on that worm, it's like Hollywood doesn't usually, even just a worm, Hollywood doesn't usually do that type of stuff. And then that cat.
Well, nobody gives a
let's talk
crap
about the
about
cat.
cats.
That cat scene was rough, man.
So they could have implied a little bit more of that. They just went flat out and showed it.
Yeah.
That I'm so happy I didn't watch that with my wife. She would have been so upset with me.
I thought it was just dogs.
I mean, it would have been way worse if it was a dog, but what they show happened to that cat, I mean,
Yeah.
it's in frame. It's out of focus some, but it's in frame.
Yeah.
The sound is crystal clear.
Yeah. Well, just throwing it down there when the cat is not happy when he's getting ready to drop it.
It does
No, yeah,
answer-
the real cat looked very unhappy.
Yeah.
with being held by the scruff of its neck.
We were all wondering though. You always say a cat's going to land on its feet, so They did answer that for us.
Yeah,
do.
it's not that I like to see that stuff. It's just that I like to know it's there, and I've said this before because when you're, I want to know that nothing is safe. That's
Right.
why I when what was it, Halloween 2018 was the first time that I think Michael Myers actually killed a kid, like a 13-year-old kid, at the beginning of the movie, and I was like, finally, yes, you know. So
Right.
I really appreciate when they're not afraid to do stuff like that, and I knew
I mean, you
kids
had a
would
mother
probably get
kill her
killed.
daughter in this.
Yeah, that was
Ooh,
insane.
I did
Yeah.
not think that was going to happen.
Yeah.
That devastated me.
And then another mother, is going into the drawer to get the knife. And I mean, that scene was amazing when the little girl locks herself in the bathroom,
Mhm.
and then you're just like holding your breath as to what's going to happen.
Yeah, because once you kill that little girl, who's
And then-
going to survive? It's like
Yeah.
all bets are off.
And then
Well,
good.
I was just gonna say she locks herself in the closet, but her sister is out there drawing on the.
Yeah.
I don't remember what those are called anymore, but
It's
like
or not etch a sketch, but yeah.
yeah, I'm just half expecting to hear something horrible go down on the other side of that door because of what they've already done in this movie.
Right. But when they explain it, I forgot something, and you think about, because that's what you could tell after going back, and she's like, oh, she wasn't possessed. She was like, I think I forgot to, and then
Yeah.
that chick's looking at it, and she's like, my mom's possessed. I got to bail.
And then you have the boy who was had the abusive mother. He kills her.
Yeah.
I mean, so like this movie was going places that, like you were saying, Ted. A lot of movies don't. One parent or sibling killing, one interfamily killing would be a lot. We have like what, 3 of them in this?
Yeah. And what killed her? Was it the dirty hot dog water or the hit in the head?
No, I think it was
like,
the
what did she
waste
die
of
hit to the
perfectly
head,
good
he
hot
didn't-
dogs.
He didn't do anything about it and left her there, just kind of foster home and flight her. Didn't say anything to anybody.
She was in pretty rough shape from both shots there.
Yeah.
I was surprised he didn't just eat a hot dog, like pick it up off the floor. But see, maybe that would have Hollywoodized the movie. Going,
Yeah, that I was
eating
going to say.
people, see, he's eating a
This
hot
was too
dog.
smart.
5 second.
Did you
rule.
guys
Yeah.
check? Did you guys catch the nudity?
No.
What? Where was
Yeah.
the nudity?
I could not
Oh.
believe it. I actually
When the little
rewound it.
was putting her shirt on?
The 10-year-old girl or whatever took her
Yes.
shirt off, or
I did.
had her shirt off, put it on. They showed her chest. Couldn't believe it.
Well, this is
no, I
Nordic
missed it.
I
stuff.
don't
no.
To
remember
them,
that.
it's not a big deal, as it shouldn't be.
Yeah. I mean, there was nothing to see, but it that kind of stuff happened in the 70s. Brooke Shields and all in movies like that, but
Right.
Jodie Foster but not today. So I was shocked. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
At-
They
at
have
the end
different
of the-
views.
At the end of the movie, did you get a sense that maybe some of the other kids in the complex?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
They
it's the
weren't
area
alone.
is what was giving the kids the ability.
Could
I
have
don't know
been,
that
yeah.
they had it till
Something
they all
in the
got
water.
there. Yeah, because it just seemed like all of them were all the kids were a little heightened. Yeah.
What was your interpretation of the last 5 seconds of the movie?
Remind me.
She's drawing furiously on that thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then she wipes it clean, and then she doesn't draw, and instead she like tightens her fist on the thing she was drawing with.
Right. Yeah. I just assumed she's going to continue getting better was the way I took it.
Okay.
Could
I
be
was-
because other kids there are developing their abilities or whatever too.
I was wondering if they were trying to make us like, is she getting possessed? Like, because they
Oh.
don't come out and say that kid died. And
Oh,
is
like
that
maybe
her
he's
getting
survived.
ready to attack her family?
See, I thought maybe in that weird psychic silent confrontation, maybe she connected with another one of the kids. And she was acting like the other little girl. That's
Could
what I
be.
thought maybe.
Well, I hope that little bastard's dead because that was one evil fucking kid.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He was. I mean, that's
It was
what
a-
he knew.
His whole situation was heartbreaking. When he got home and he sat down on the floor and just started, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I forget his name. We'll call him Little Steve Barnard for
Little Stevie B. Yeah,
Call
because
him.
it'd be too easy to hate him, but you didn't. You just wanted to take him home and
Oh no, I hated
Give
him.
him-
That kid was an evil serial killer piece of shit. But you feel bad for why he's
Yeah,
the way
he was like a
is, but he
product
still
of his
needed to die.
environment.
yeah.
He was terrible.
Yeah, he was a loner. He wanted friends. He was getting bullied. You know, he had no father figure.
Just think how they would have Hollywoodized that ending. Because as it is, he's just sitting on a swing, and all of a sudden his head.
Oh, he would have
goes.
blown up. He would have blown
Right?
up.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
he would have levitated over the pond.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I might not have minded if he exploded. That kind of would have been cool, but otherwise.
I was wondering if something like that was going to happen, and I was like, this movie is way too like, it's not going to happen. I did expect a little bit more.
I wonder too sometimes with this stuff, how much is budgetary? Like, how much did they want to do and they just couldn't?
Hey,
Like that
if the
CG
budget-
snake looked like shit.
right.
You know,
So if the budget saves you from doing big things that would look like crap, then good.
yeah, it's
It
not
works in
always
your
a
favor.
bad thing to not be able to do all the crazy shit in your head. You know?
Look at Jaws.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
imagine if the shark's jumping out of the water in Jaws. It'd be like, what the fuck?
I mean, the water movement and the sand movement, all that, the sticks breaking and all of that looked great.
Yeah, it looked great. Yeah.
Oh
It
yeah,
did
when
need
the
to be
girl's
a tidal
holding the
wave.
stick and then
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's definitely going to my
it's an excellent movie.
top 10 of the year for sure. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not like flat out horror. It's just creepy
no,
and sad.
yeah, it's unsettling. It's probably the best movie that I've talked to you guys about, other than Hell or what was it
Amityville.
called?
Yeah,
No,
that zombie that zombie one in New York in the prison was
The Hell
awesome.
one. The
Hellbender.
yeah.
Mm.
That was yeah, that's probably the second best one. This is probably my favorite as far as being on the show talking about main feature.
Yeah, I'm surprised they brought you on for this one.
Yeah,
Should have waited for something
I
real.
don't know what we were,
crappy.
what
Right?
we were thinking.
we could always
Thank
do
you.
Shark Side of the Moon next week. And have
Thank
a
you
chat.
for your mercy.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I mean, as soon as that thing was over, I'm like, you were like, clearly, I just watched like a piece of art. Like that was a quality thing.
Yeah.
Like not as fun as like even something as dark as The Black Phone is a lot more fun, even though you're dealing with a child.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, it
murderer.
was good, man. I'm
Did you
glad
guys
we
get-
watched it.
Did you guys get Let the Right One In vibes?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
That's part of the sequel.
Yeah,
Coming out
you know,
next year.
Let the Right One In had like such realistic bullying.
Oof.
And this again, this
Mhm.
felt like when you were like in elementary school, the
Yeah.
politics of the playground, you know.
Yeah, it was good
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, love the playground.
All right,
Mm-mm.
so we'll have to figure out what we're doing next week, but this was a good one.
Maybe we'll just do a
yes,
bunch
it
of
was.
Tubi movies. Just do a all hell Tubi episode.
All right, so everybody in the chat, thanks for coming, and go do all your good podcast stuff. And anything else, fellas?
Nope, let's get out of here.
I think
Okay.
Jason wants to keep talking.
Uh huh.
He looks like it.
I'm
Looks like the
feeling
back's
really
feeling
good. Let's keep going.
All right, catch you guys next week.
Game over,